Okay, and we're back. Good morning, everyone. So, I needed to take a break from games for a bit, and surprisingly, after how absolutely loopy I was going to become if I continued playing World of Tanks. But while we're at it, what I'm going to do on stream today is, let's change scenes real quick. If you can see me, hello, welcome to my bedroom. This is my guitar here. I have 3 guitars. This is one of them. It's a clone of a Fender Stratocaster made by a local company here. And I replaced all the pickups in it. Maybe about a month ago or so, I replaced all the pickups. So these pickups are new. I, however, did not have a drill that was suitable for this. And I was planning on replacing the neck, which, grab it real quick. It's right here. So notice how it's not drilled. So what we're gonna do today is I need to add some drill some holes for this. You notice how there's a little gap there now? And I'm going to probably put this new neck on. Although I do not have a decal for it, I will sort out the decal later. So yeah. And while I build it, we can just kind of talk about things. I'm gonna talk about the state of what I'm planning on doing, what I am going to do about the channel, because of course there is no audience. I'm just doing this for my own archive right now. To be honest, I couldn't care less if I had an audience or not. For stuff I'd be doing anyways. Let's see if there's battery in this. Yeah, there is. Okay, that's good. Okay, it works. Good. I will then, let's take off the strings real quick. Where is my string winder? I don't know. I feel like there's a better way for me to kind of show you all what's going on my desk, but do it like that. There you go. I'd say that's a little bit better. Because I don't have that much of a working space right now. I would if I have a different place where I usually do my guitar builds, but I'm not there right now. So this is what I'm gonna have to work with. Now, I actually do not know where a lot of the screws for this thing are. I believe I have them here on this desk, right inside this little tray here. I need a magnetic tray. I feel like that's something that I should really consider investing in. The guitar here. While I work. You grab it. Only the screws fell on the ground the other day. Let's count how many screws are here, because that'll give me a good idea of if I have all the screws here right now. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1. I have 1 here right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, I still have screws up here as well. Alright, so I also have another smaller bag of screws that is more meant for, look, make sure I got everything here. I have another, ooh. That's just as far as it goes? It is, okay. I had another bag of screws. Let me figure out where. I can always blame my lack of organization causing these problems. I had a bag of golden screws around here somewhere. I could only find them. Ah, there they are. Okay. So these screws are golden, and I might consider replacing the screws here with them. However, What I don't like is that the pickup screws and stuff are still silver. So I have to decide that when I do it. It's gonna kind of... We just kind of have to play it by ear, work with it as we go. While we do that, then I'm just gonna take off the strings. I think my initial plan here is that I need to essentially pull the strings out. I don't actually need to take the strings entirely off. I just need to pull them out. So, because I'm not replacing the tremolo, so I can just have them leaned over the edge like that. Call me lazy, call me frugal, I just don't want to replace the strings. So I have a set of Ernie Ball Blues over here that I could use, but to be honest, I can't be asked with them. So, you know what, I'm gonna loosen this. Go. That's a little bit better. There, that's much better. Right. Okay. That's this string dealt with. Pull this so that everything's a little bit taut. Yeah, let me... Better. So, what my plans are then for the next couple of days is that I'm gonna continue streaming just video game content as always. However, I do have plans for a video that I'm actually working through editing right now. I got all the footage for it yesterday. I'm just gonna go through and I'll probably get it done later today. I don't know. More of a figure it out when we get there. So yeah. To be honest, it's more of a I'm doing most of this for fun right now because I'm bored. So God forbid if I wasn't enjoying it, we would have problems. Get out of here. Let's get this. There you go. The string trees on this thing are a little bit annoying. I'll have to put them into the new neck. So I'm not even sure if I want string trees. I feel like I do though. Man, I need a better working space. We'll keep going. Safety first, kids. Yeah. So I got a video that's probably going to be coming out later today. I'm just working my way through editing it right now. It's a pretty straightforward edit. It's not a very involved one. It's just a joke vid. At this point, like, a lot of my stuff is, like I said earlier, it's more meant for me than anyone else. I'm just kind of doing it because I'm bored at this point. Because there isn't really an audience. I'm just doing it so that in the future I can look back and I'll just be like, man, that was a weird time, wasn't it? Although I don't think I'll look back and think of it as really being that weird. It's just more of a, boy, I sure was bored, wasn't I? And they would be entirely correct in that assumption. Yes, I am very bored right now. These days, I find myself much more bored than I used to be. Do that real quick. Also, apologies for my bedhead. It's because it is bedhead. The stream's on my second monitor, so if it looks like I'm not actually looking at the screen, it's because I'm not. I'm gonna this, and then the strings will all be off. I'm so happy I got this string winder the other day. I just kind of dropped into a guitar shop and was like, "Hey, you got any string winders?" And they're just kind of like, "Yes, of course we do. If we didn't, wouldn't really be a guitar shop now, would we?" They sell, it's like Hank Hill, they sell propane and propane accessories. Okay, that's done with. There's a really easy way to group all of these up, and that's to just... do I have a magnet around here somewhere? I don't. You know, typically I would use a magnet, but what I'm just going to do is Okay, sounds good. Now, we need to take off the neck. Let me find... I have a twisty tie. I'll use that to hold the string. Now, to be honest, like, I ain't a professional when it comes to this. I just do it for fun. That's a story for most of my things. How has this happened? Hold on. We appear to have an issue here. How has that happened? I somehow managed to wrestle the saddle free. Screw for it go. What? How does this happen? Okay, look at this. The saddle fell off of the rest of the... Well, I am going to have to deal with that. That is an immediate issue. I don't know where that screw went. It could have fallen anywhere. Around here somewhere. On my lap? Happy. That is very concerning. Is it under? Hold on. I'm gonna bear with me for a second while I look for this screw. What? Not the sort of thing that just disappears like that. Because it was genuinely connected to the guitar just a second ago. Okay, I may have a replacement screw for it. We should be fine. Ah. Let me grab it. Replacement screw should be around here somewhere. Here it is. All of these things pretty much use the same screws. If you have one screw for it, typically speaking, it will work for everything. Nope, that does not work. Okay, looks like I may actually have to look for this thing. Odd problem to run into. I've never had the saddle just fall out like that before. Okay, well, we'll keep the spring in a place where I can. Just have to hope that screw pops up one eventually. Okay, well, what we were going to do was we were going to deal with the neck, so let's deal with the neck. Man, I am actually kind of... Whatever. I can't be asked. This is what happens when your working space is tiny, because I'm not where I usually work on these things. I blame COVID for that. So, yeah, I got a video coming out later today, and then I got a... I don't know about later today, actually. I have all the footage for it. Editing it is being a bit of a pain. Just to give you an idea, like, it's not really gonna describe what the content of the actual video is, but I'm trying to find stock footage of water flowing, and you would not believe how hard it is to find stock footage of water flowing. Like, it's not supposed to be that hard, but it just is. It's really annoying. I don't know. It's just like that. So... I don't understand either. It's literally stock footage of water flowing. It should not be that hard, but it is. So, I don't know. It do be like that sometimes. So that video should be completing pretty soon. I have a lot of the... I don't actually have the voiceover for it done yet, but whatever. And then after that, I got a sequel to that video, actually, that I already have planned, that I don't have the footage for. It's just gonna be like meme vids, honestly. Nothing too serious. Not like a serious like live stream highlights video or anything. It's just like this is meme, laugh at it sort of thing. Raise the center up a little bit so that the neck is a little bit easier to screw off. Alright, so one of the issues that I ran into with regards to trying to get the new neck on is the placement of the saddles and the placement of the machine heads, because the machine heads for this are... Let's just get the neck out of there real quick. Wheel. That. Right. Oh, where is this screw? For the love of God, I cannot believe of all the things to fall off. Okay, so what we got here, while I move this here so that I have a better, neater working space. What we got here is the original neck for this guitar. I need to figure out which drill bit will be used for this. Okay. Don't ask how I managed to break the box, but I have. Whatever. Make it work. So, we got... What's that look like? I would say that it is a 3.5, maybe a 4. I think it might be more a 4 than a 3.5. Yeah, it's a 4. Okay. And I will put that there. And then, as for the holes up here, we'll have to remove those first. I think I'll deal with the neck later. The neck will be what I deal with at the end. But first, we will deal with... First things first, I'm still looking for that screw, because, like... Stuff like that doesn't just disappear. Oh no, okay. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take out the one screw that's connected to the scratch plate. Put that with the rest of them. Organization is something that you should do, kids. Don't be like me. And what I have to do here is I need to shield the wires in here, because I did a poor job when I initially set up the guitar, and so it is now not in good shape. So I'm just gonna shield that real quick, just to make sure that it's a little bit more insulated. I don't want too much shielding. I only need to. I'm just gonna wrap it up in a little bit of electrical tape. That's what worked the last time. It's more of a temporary solution, but it actually worked in the long term for me because I don't have anything to really shrink. To really shrink wrap the wires with. So when I made my other guitars, the electrical tape actually lasted a good while. The guitar's been sitting around for about 4 years now, and it hasn't had any problems. So I'm going to go out on the whim and say the electrical tape works for this. Just bear with me while I just around with this. To be honest, I'm slowly running out of games that I want to play. Not slowly. There are a lot of games I still haven't gotten around to. It's just more of a when there isn't much of an audience. A lot of the games that I play, I want a lot of audience interaction for. And when you don't get that interaction, it's just kind of like there isn't really much going on in the game. Like with Final Fantasy, I enjoy it. I definitely do. Don't get me wrong. I like playing the game. But streaming it is much more fun when audience members are involved in the process. And when you don't have audience members, it just isn't as fun. Which is just how it is sometimes. It's not neat, but it will do. Because I know myself that that actually has worked in the past. There are a couple of things here and there that do need to be improved, though, with regards to holding all of the wires together. This needs to be insulated a little bit better, so let's insulate that. That just needs to be insulated laterally. Doesn't need too much, it just needs to be separated from the other wires. Probably going to be a lot better already. Wrap it around the entire wire itself. Doesn't need to be that long. Doesn't need to be that neat either. It's just holding everything together. Okay. And I think a lot of these solder points are okay. They don't really need to be improved. Maybe bend this one a little bit too. There you go. That's a little bit better. I want them to be a little bit separated, but otherwise complete. That looks about right. I don't need to do anything there. With that being the case, I think it is about time that I figured out what drill bit is needed for here. It's probably going to be a 2 or a 2.5. Yeah, it's a 2. And then what we're going to do then is we're going to have it held in place by the one screw. I actually first want to take a look at how the golden screws look. Yeah, that ain't gonna fly. I don't like that at all. That looks pretty bad. So we're just gonna use the original screws. Gonna screw this in. Make sure it's nice and snug and make sure that everything is where it should be. I would say that that is more or less correct. Because it's not interfering with the neck. Okay, this is exactly where it should be. So we need another screw. I'm gonna actually tape down. I don't have masking tape, so bear with me. While I kind of pin this down. There you go. Use that to hold it in place for a little bit while I put the drill bit in. Okay. And then I'm going to, better place to put this up here. And while we do that, I am going to make some pilot holes because I just want to make sure that it's not going to be too all over the place. Okay, this is correct. Pilot hole right there. Oh. Did I not? Okay, there we go. How have I managed to do this? Right, I need to actually readjust this. Tighten it real quick. It wasn't tight enough, so. But I think that is deep enough. We'll try it out. That's a really nice hole, actually. That should be more than deep enough for this. Yeah, look at that. That is good. That's holding it. Okay, that one next. Be above it. And that should be it. There you go. Go. Perfect. Vacuum my room later after this. That screw in there. Digging real nicely. And now it's really holding everything in place, which is precisely what I wanted. Okay, I actually need to make sure that I have not messed around with the wiring. Gonna do like the tap test on the pickups real quick. Perfect. Works quite nicely. So we'll just keep on making more holes here. Hold everything together real quick. There. I'm actually going to drill 2 holes right now. I don't have a pilot hole for there, but it should be okay. We're just gonna... Okay, perfect. I'll just vacuum the whole room later. And once you kind of get everything squared out and it looks like it's in the right position, from now on I should be able to drill the last of the holes. So the 5 other holes left. 6 other holes left. And then this top corner one yet. But I don't know. I feel like I forgot how the standardizations work for Stratocaster scratch plates. It's one of those things that I don't fully understand either. Because I do know that there's a difference between the number of holes. Like, I think 11 hole is the standard. I don't remember. But here, they're both 11 hole setups. My old scratch plate and this one that I currently have. However, the position of the holes is different. So I will need to look that up. Figure out what's up with that. Because I thought this was just a standard 2-ply, 3 single coil pickup scratch plate, but it would appear not. There you go. Now the scratch plate is the easy part because we're not doing too much work with the scratch plates. But once we actually have to deal with the neck, now that's going to be where it starts to get a little bit complicated. Because there's going to be a lot of work involved with the neck. Perfect. And with that, I believe I'm just going to let that bit cool down for a little bit. Get it? A little bit. I laugh my own jokes too much. Keep on screwing these in. I'll mess with the pickup heights once I actually put the strings back on. And putting strings back on will require me to actually figure out what's going on with the saddle. Still don't know how I'm going to deal with that if I can't find the screw for that. Oh, I forgot to drill 2 of the holes. I'll drill those 2 after I screw these in. But nice thing is, I always wanted to get a full maple gloss neck Stratocaster, and I probably still will at some point. But for the time being, this Stratocaster will do. It sounds pretty good. Although I will admit that I'm not a very good player. I'm mostly a builder. I used to help mess around with guitar modifications for my friends. I've never really done it professionally though, so don't quote me on anything. I am well and truly a hobbyist when it comes to these things. Although being a professional would be quite fun. Because it takes a lot of training. That's always when you're becoming a professional in something. And this should be the last hole. Okay, I hit something. I need to pull out. Okay, good. That is enough. I need to go back and make sure because I think I hit something there. Nope, everything functions. So, I don't know. Really is a mystery sometimes. Like that freaking screw for the saddle, I have no idea where it went. Like, it has to be in this room somewhere. I know what those saddle screws look like, so I don't know. Baffling to me. I think the thing that would make me the most pissed is if suddenly we find out that the saddle screw is actually underneath the scratch plate somewhere. I would lose my shit if that's where it is. I'm just shaking it just to make sure. Okay. So that is now functional. That is perfect. That is exactly how it should be. I think it's time to work on the neck now. Now, these necks, I think I'm gonna have to mark a hole first before I do anything. Because I don't think the drill can reach all the way through. So we'll have to see. One doesn't need to be here. Same deal with the capo. These screws I will no longer need, so use up that bag. Put it with the rest of the screws down here. This spring needs to be kept. I'll put it where the screws used to be. Okay. And that means that the drill will now be up here. My cutters, screwdriver, precision screwdriver, string winder, electrical tape I don't need anymore. I'm good now. Okay, perfect. Now, this is going to be a bit complicated. Let's do it this way. The problem here is I need to saddle the neck perfectly in there. And it needs to be exactly where it should be. I think what I might do is I might tape it in place just to make sure that I don't mess this up. Because this neck is not fitting in there that snugly. You know what I might just do? I think I might just take dimensions of this. Shouldn't be any difference between these two. However, I have a feeling that there is a difference. There is a difference. It would seem. I may need to shave off some of the corners here. Hmm. I mean, of course, scale length's going to be the same. It's just more of a question of, okay, looks like it is designed to sit at the same amount of distance. It's just that very interesting. Interesting design decision, but there's only one way to really find out whether or not this will stay in tune if I do that. Okay. Well, then I can't really rely on the measurements here because this thing is slightly longer. Okay, there's only one way of doing this then. I need it to be aligned like that. I need to be aligned like that. I need to tape that in place. So I'm going to stick grab that, and I'll just tape this in place. Hopefully tape works. I don't know. Tape is a little bit fickle sometimes. Have it lined up like that. Okay. And then this side can't be helped. It just has to be like that. Raise the rest of the neck a little bit. Push that in to make sure that it's correct. And then I need to get something in there to mark that. Guess this will reach all the way. Which it looks like it actually will. So I am currently working my way through deciding what other games I'll play. If you have any recommendations, I'm more than happy to listen to them, because I'm creatively devoid. However, I would feel like I'll figure it out. I've always figured it out in the past, so the hope of mine that I will eventually figure these things out. I need to make sure 100% that this is correct. Okay. Oh man, this is rough. Right. This is not the correct way to do this. There's no way that this is the right way that you're supposed to go about doing this. Okay. I need to take a look at that. Deal with this hole next. This is very bad for your drill, so don't do it. I'm not a good example for these sorts of things, so don't copy me. And about right. Part of me thinks not. I wish I could determine it off of this, but the necks aren't the same thickness. Okay, you know what? I'm going to remeasure. I'm actually gonna use a tape measure to try to decide this. I know what the distance between the two places is though now. I will be back in a little bit while I figure this out. Alright, and I'm back. Well, if we're gonna do this, we might as well do it properly, so let's figure this out here. Very interesting. Okay. Right. Let me determine. So now we gotta just decide what to do. Okay. That's good. My hope is that these holes are correct, the initial holes that I drilled. But when I measure them, they actually look pretty darn correct. It's just that I think they need to be a little bit more. And although it might just be the difference in the uh, next thickness. No, when I look at this, it's actually correct. That's weird. It's actually designed to be like that. Whatever. Need to double check to make sure how deep these holes need to be. These holes, how deep are they? They are. They're about 1 centimeter deep. I'd say maybe half a centimeter more and we're good. That's deep enough. Right. Tighten this up real quick. Now, probably the best way for me to have decided whether or not the holes lined up would have been to use this thing. Now that I think about it. I'm not a smart man. I'm certainly not that dumb either. I need to widen this hole just a little bit. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put one of the screws in right now. Okay. I may actually need to use a bigger drill bit for this. It was a little bit too tight. Boo boo. Yeah. This is much better for this. I need to expand this hole. I've never been too much of a smart guy. But you know what? Okay, we'll drill the other holes and we'll figure that last one out. Right here. Okay, now we know exactly where the hole should be. Let me clear my workspace real quick, actually. Sweep it into the bin. I don't need the guitar here anymore now that I figured that out. Put this guitar in the safe spot. That safe spot being the floor. It's dangerous, kids. This is not life advice. That real quick. Oh my god, it looks like I am... It looks like I am setting up the world's most mad line of coke. What is this? Oh, the battery, isn't it? Or did it overheat? No, it's not. It overheated. Okay. Let this to the side. And then I'll sweep this area. Okay. And we go back to work. not deep enough yet. Maybe a little bit deeper. But good place to stop. Oh, it's out. It actually is out of battery though. Oh, that's really dangerous for that, but whatever. Tactical reload. Okay. And then that is good. And that will be deep enough for those. Now, the only issue left here is that one of the holes is not in a good spot. So I'm going to, not in a good spot, but I feel like it could be placed better. So I need to set a pilot hole for re-drilling it a little bit. It's not even that far off. It's just off enough for it to be a problem. In the future, at least. And I don't want it to be a problem in the future. So what we're going to do is we're going to connect 3 of the screws, and then we are going to attempt to try to expand that hole so that it's a little bit better placed. And we'll just kind of line that up like that. Once it finds the hole, it should just go in just fine. Yep, sounds like it found the hole. That first screw done. Go. That screw is done. Yeah, that's the neck having to be resocketed because the shapes of the necks are not the same. They're slightly different. Just different enough where it'll be really tight when you try to screw on the neck. That hole needs to remain unaltered while I look at how this front area looks now. I'd say that looks quite nice. There'll have to be some work here and there on it, but I'd say that looks quite nice. Now, I don't know about... Let's try this. twisty time. Ways. What I'm gonna do is very annoying. Okay. And now I am just going to make sure that the strings line up because I'm not sure if they do. That was right here. Now this string does not have a saddle, but should be able to get a good idea. Well, it's not awful. It's just that there appears to be too much of a yeah, there's too much of a gap there. Okay. Then what we're gonna have to do is we may have to take the neck off and actually sand down that part. Oh, maybe not. It just wasn't screwed on hard enough. Because there was a weird, like, negative camber to the neck. The neck was tilted backwards. Oh, it's flush. But it's not exactly ideal, but it will do. Now I just need to expand the hole here. Okay. I see how it is. That's a little bit better. Now it should be a little bit better. Yeah. That's looking more like what the neck should look like. There you go. That's more like it. That's correct. Okay. Looks good. I think now the problem is I still have not managed to locate the screw for the nut that somehow managed to vanish. So that is a bit of a problem. Not the nut, the freaking saddle screw. I genuinely do not know where this saddle screw went. And it is a bit of a problem because that's kind of important. I could potentially try to alter one of the other screws to try to make it work with the saddle, but I don't know. We need to try to find it. Of all the things to disappear, it had to be the saddle screw. I'm gonna have to try to keep on looking for it here somewhere. I don't know. It genuinely is the sort of thing that doesn't just disappear like that. So I feel like I might be really dumb here and it might have like fallen into my pocket or something or another. Try to find this thing. It's around here somewhere. Like there's no way that it like rolled out of the room. Use my phone flashlight to try to find it. This genuinely is the sort of thing that doesn't just disappear. So I don't know. Stepped on a bug on purpose? Not necessarily. Most of the time, it's kind of oh wait, I stepped on him. Oh no, sort of thing. I mean, I've considered it. Most of the time, they're either away from me or they're already stepped on. So, no. I mean, I don't know if that really answers your question, but it probably does, right? Oh, what is this? Okay. I have not found it. What I may have to do is I may have to alter a screw that I already have. Hit that. Which is mostly fine by me. Ah. Yeah. No worries. Sorry about that. I am also a little bit. I feel like my mind's a little bit preoccupied right now with trying to find where the hell this thing went. All the things to lose. Still can't believe I lost that. Okay. Try to alter another screw to make it work there. The screw's threads do not line up with that, so that's not going to work. And then let's see if I can try to use these pickup screws. It looks like the threads line up with these. Know that it fits through there. There is potentially a way to make this work. Ew. Yeah, this is a bit of a pickle that I'm in now. Now that I don't know where that screw is. I'm kind of concerned that it could be inside the guitar still. I might have accidentally left it inside underneath the pickup. No. No, it's not under there. It would have really been dislodged if it was under there. I feel like there aren't many choices for me now as to what I can do if I can't find that screw. Okay. I may have to try to make the saddle work without the screw, which is a really dumb way of making this work, but whatever. Hmm. Placement saddle screws are not the sort of thing that you can just get, especially for something that's not OEM like this. Hmm. I have to walk around my entire room to try to figure out where the saddle screw is. Genuinely cannot believe that. Of all the things to go missing. Ah, anything else could have gone missing and I probably could have replaced it easily. The saddle screw, however, is not one of those things. So, I don't know how I'm going to deal with that being missing now. Hmm. Yeah, that's a bit tough. I genuinely don't know how I'm going to replace that saddle screw. Bit of a problem. Hmm. Weird. Now it is time for us to deal with the tuners and the string trees. Ah, that's going to be another can of worms that's just annoying to deal with. But has to be done, so can't be helped. Let's start with I can't believe I need a bigger screwdriver. What is even up with these screws here, man? I'm just not able to unscrew them. What? I don't understand how these screws are supposed to work. They're really deep and they're really small, but when you try to twist them, the metal is like it's made of. The metal has no resistance to it. It just deforms. What kind of screws are these? Almost like they come pre-stripped. Hmm. I don't know how I can deal with this. They're quite genuinely stuck in there. There you go. That's a little bit better. Line them up for now. actually just pull this out. Yep. Essentially, what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to take all of these out of the guitars. And then I'm going to line them up. And then drill the holes. I think it's a good idea to have a rough estimate of where all of them are going to sit first. And now we are halfway there. Oh, we're halfway there. Look at that. Perfect. Gotta keep on going, and then once I get all three of them in there, then I can have a better idea of how I want to go about aligning them. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have a ruler held up against it. I'm going to have a ruler held up against it. And then I'm going to screw them in individually. Drill the holes individually. After, I think I'm going to try to base it all off of the fat E string. And then the string trees will come afterwards, after I get a good idea of where the strings are. Because you can put the string trees after you put the strings onto the tuners. So. Only one more tuner and then we'll be good. I'll then need to decide what thickness of screw to use, what thickness of drill to use for the... I'm going to grab a set of pliers. I will be back in a little bit. and back with this to just kind of. There you go. Rest of it can be done by hand. And with that, we should have all 6 of the tuners attached, but not necessarily aligned. So what we do is we take a ruler, and it usually gives us a good idea of how to align all of these. It's essentially just acting like a straight edge. And once they're all aligned, we can then decide what size drill bit that we want to use for this over here. I'm going to wager that we should probably use a 1.5, but we just have to see. Yeah, we want to use a 1.5. A 2 might work actually as well, although I feel like actually a 2 will work perfectly. More dependent on the screw itself. I think just to be safe, I'm going to use a 1.5. Lemon oil away. Have to be careful with these 1.5s, they break really easily. Though to be fair, they're not really. Okay. Right. And then from there, what we can try to do is we can see if this will fit. Because hopefully it will. If it doesn't, then it's concerning. And just like that, it is aligned. Quite nicely, if I do say so myself. dealt with. Now I can screw in all of the alignment holes, and then I can tighten the tuners themselves. And that should be everything except for the string trees done. And with that, we now have a complete set of tuners. I can now go through and thread everything again. Very typical kind of we just realign everything real quick. My microphone's blocking the way. Let me just kind of this so that you can see it a little bit better. We can just start winding. Now I want to wind the two exterior strings first. Because of my initial concerns with how I'm a little bit worried that the strings will be too close to the edge of the neck, and it shouldn't be too much of a problem. So Something is shaking, and I'm not sure what. I need to adjust the saddle a little bit, but it should be okay. The strings just need to be recalibrated for it, but that's okay. That works, which is all that I needed for it to do. Work. And deal with the top string. Actually, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to tighten these nuts. This is actually the only one that's loose. The others are quite tight. Go. Basically, no wiggle room in the others. A little bit shaky, but it should be okay. Should be able to make it work. Start winding this. Just do that real quick. Try to raise up one side of it. Okay. I think I am going to need to put on the string trees a little bit weird without the string trees on right now. The string trees are usually between the second and the third tuner for the two top strings, so it will be right about here. However, I don't know. I need to put on this string here to just make sure. I have a pretty bad workspace. Don't question it. Ah, I see what I've done wrong here. I need to redo this. Taking a lot more effort than it usually does, just because of how I'm trying to do this without the string trees in yet, so I haven't put them in yet, so we just gotta figure out how we're gonna do this without the string trees. Okay, I think it doesn't need to be in tune, we just need to put in the string trees, and then we'll figure it out from there. So, string trees are usually between the second and the third machine heads, at least in this manufacturer's guitars, because this is not an official Fender guitar. It's whatever. I mean, it's a project guitar. The action is ridiculously high right now, but that's just more of me needing to adjust the saddles a little bit. So that will end up having to be fixed at some point. But it's okay. All of this just takes time. It just takes trial and error to really figure out. Well, as far as the tuning goes. The drilling ideally would not take trial and error. But if it did, then I mean, the first time I messed around with guitars, I had to pretty much use a trial and error method to deal with drilling things. Okay, so the trees should be right about there. I need to take a look at where the holes are in relation to the nut. The hole is 7 centimeters from the nut. The nut being actually a little bit farther away from the actual head of the guitar on this guitar. You know, like I said, it's a lot of trial and error. We just gotta figure it out from there. Where is my pencil? There it is. And once you have a good idea of where it should be, you can decide to put in pilot holes, but I live life on the edge and it's more me being lazy. So I also want to be very careful not to drill into the strings, because if we break the strings, then my life is sad. As if it wasn't to begin with. We'll figure it out from here. I just gotta be a little bit careful with it. Where is my support? I have a neck support thing here. Okay, yeah. They're just made from pickup covers that I've kind of squeezed into each other to try to alter the height of. Yeah. That's about right. How do I deal with this? There. And that's about as deep as they need to be for the string feed. They don't have to be that deep in there. They just need to be in there. If they're not in there, then it's a bit of a... You're kind of defeating the whole purpose of them, because they're supposed to be strong enough to hold up the strings, you know? They're called string trees for a reason. Stick that in there, just like that. And then, I don't know. We can screw them in, but I'm a little bit concerned because the other screws for this guitar have all been quite weak. As in they were using really cheap metal. And I've had some of the screws on this guitar fall apart while screwing things in. So, you just have to be a little bit careful with it, but it should be good. And... should be deeper. And just like that, we have the string trees in. Oh, that's good. That actually turned out a lot better than I expected it to. It's still a little bit loose, but that is mostly because I want to give it some wiggle room. I'm a little bit concerned that the strings will start to move around because of my makeshift saddle piece here. It should be okay. I still feel like I'm not going to be able to fix the action on the upper E string, simply because of that missing screw there. So, I just have to live with it, which is fine. Not the end of the world. The second saddle is between the first and the second. However, it's holding down these two. So, that's its own thing. It is 4.5 centimeters away from the nut. And like I said, the nut on this neck is actually not in the same position as the nut on the other neck. But as we saw from there, it actually didn't matter in the end. So it should be okay. I just need to make sure that I mark it correctly. The actual screw hole itself is 4.5 centimeters away. And it is directly over the truss rod hole. So this may differ depending on your guitar. Some Fender custom shops have a much more weird placement for the trees, but that's just because of how they are designed. So that's more of a special case by case thing rather than something that is true on all guitars. And that should be deep enough. I'm a little bit concerned about the screws, as always, like I mentioned earlier, because the screws that came with this guitar originally are pretty bad. So in the future, I may consider getting replacement hardware for it, but I mean, I think it was like a $90 guitar. So it's really a question of, is it actually worth it? When you can probably go out and buy just a Mexican or Japanese made Fender for about $500, $600. Really up to the person. I like building my own guitars, but I can totally understand if this seems like it's a lot of work, because it is a lot of work. Considering it's been, how long has it been? It's been about 2 hours since I started the stream, which would have been when I started working with it initially, working on the guitar, which was crazy to think it's already been 2 hours. Like, we just hit the exact 2 hour mark. So it might also just be because I'm not a professional, so things like this take time when you're not really trained for it. Also, I know I'm reusing strings, but not be asked. Like, it's $5 for a new set of strings. I can't be asked. I am more than happy to just use old strings over and over. Although these strings aren't even that old. I only put these strings on maybe about a month ago. I only took them off because I was working on the guitar itself. So this is, you'll notice from now that this is quite a pleasant experience winding this up, because I've already dealt with the two strings that give me anxiety when I wind them. I feel like it gives every guitar player anxiety trying to wind the upper two strings. But it is what it is. And with that, doesn't need to be in tune. I'll figure out the intonation later. So we just need everything to be aligned. I think these strings right now are 9s, but I have a bag of 8s here as well that I'm planning on replacing the 9s with when I eventually get around to replacing the 9s. So, but I have a preference for lighter strings simply because I like the brighter tone. I know some people like using heavier strings. I mean, a lot of people that I know who use Stratocasters want that Stevie Ray Vaughan tone, which almost requires you to use heavy gauge strings to sound throaty, as they say. But me, I prefer using lighter gauge strings. I use them on my Les Paul, I use them on my Mustang, and those are both short scale length guitars, and I still prefer using lighter strings. Although I have heard that it's the longer scale length guitars where the lighter strings really come in and you really start to feel them. I only have one Stratocaster, so how the hell should I know? That's on there quite nicely now, actually. So, time to deal with this string, which is the most coiled out of all the used strings I have here. This one's going to be probably the most annoying to try to wind, because this machine head's always had problems. I'll never understand why I prefer building guitars over playing them. If I spent the amount of time that I spend building guitars, playing them, I'd be a much better player. But as of right now, I am essentially a beginner. I play like somebody who has about 1 week's worth of experience. So I don't know. Some people, I guess it's a person by person thing. Come on. The reason why it's really problematic to try to wind in a really coiled string is that you essentially need to flatten out the string as you're winding it, and then recoil the string with the winding motion. It's absolutely awful because you can feel the tension working against you as you're winding it, and you don't know if it's ever going to snap right in your face. But with that, it would seem like we are done. Except for the whole, I need to tune the whole guitar. So. Yeah. The last bit of it can be done by hand. Figure this out. Yeah, it's really out of tune. That's the E. It just requires a lot of... I can hear it going out of tune as I'm spinning this, and that's just the strings getting used to this. Okay, there you go. And that's in tune. Now I need to deal with the saddle height because I don't know if you can see this, but the action on this guitar is, for an electric guitar, is kind of... Look at that. Okay. It might just be I need to tighten the back sockets of the neck a little bit more, which is entirely something that I might have to do, but we'll see. This is... I'm just going to try to tighten these a little bit. After I tighten this, it's going to require retuning of the whole guitar, which is a little bit annoying, but only a little bit. Man. it's going to require even more. It's going to require even more tightening of this. I have to be careful not to actually break the screw. Just very small, minute adjustments. Of course, it could also be truss rod adjustments that I can do, but I much prefer not messing around too much with the truss rod. But looking at the curvature of the neck right now, I may have to do that. So I will have to return. I will be right back with a truss rod adjustment. So. Hello, and I'm back. Let's just take a look to see if the truss rod adjustment is... This is not the right... I need to take a look to see what size it looks like it is. I actually haven't had to adjust the truss rod on this thing yet. So let's take a look. It is... Well, it certainly is an Allen key. Not much is for sure. Although I'd be concerned if it wasn't an Allen key. It might just be metric and not imperial, which is completely plausible. But very annoying if that's the case. So that's not it. I inexplicably somehow have 3 Allen keys that appear different, but are actually all the same size. I don't understand that either. Okay, this is a smaller one. I need to take a look to see if this truss rod... Okay, so this should be the right one if it's standardized, but you never know because I bought this neck for like 30 bucks. So standardization is the sort of thing that goes out the window with those sort of situations. It would appear that it is not the same. I think what I may have to do is I may have to adjust it from the saddle. Adjust the action height from the saddle, which is not ideal. This is what I get for buying cheap necks. What an annoyance. Whatever. I'll live. I'm gonna end up having to lower the action heights for all of these by a lot. But it's more important on the middle strings here, I think. Just small minor adjustments will do. Don't want to do anything too drastic. And that is already a little bit better. But that means we need to retune the entire guitar. So If it looks like I'm looking down, it's because my tuner is down there. So that's why. It's still quite, the action is still quite rough up here, but I'd say that it's pretty good. Although, to be fair, it's like, it is quite... There's quite a bit of heft to trying to press down these strings. I may have to... Man, I may have to start using lighter gauge strings on this thing just simply because of the action height. See, the problem here is that because of what I've had to do to the saddles, the entirety of the guitar... No, it is definitely a truss rod adjustment issue. It needs to be adjusted. But yeah, I don't think I have the ability to do it. Lower the volume a little bit. I think the nice thing is I may have to lower the height of the pickups a little bit. Might be a little bit too close to the strings. Somehow managed to make it so that the action height is too high and it's too close to the pickups. Just lower that a little bit. There's a little bit too much on the treble end of it. I know I could equalize it, but I feel like it might be better for me to adjust it from here. Now, I have a very interesting way of getting some really soft tones out of the neck pickup. I'd say it sounds pretty good right now, considering altogether the cost for building this guitar was under $200. I mean, it is quite... There is a lot of strength required to actually push down the strings. I'd say I think the only thing I need to do now is learn how to actually play the guitar. But hey, I'd say that it was a good experience to actually do this. I mean, I've done it before, but it's like you can never have too much experience. I'm just going to cut the strings now because I don't think I'll need to do too much more to this guitar. There you go. I would honestly say that I did a pretty good job here with these. There isn't too much improvement that needs to be done to them. I have maybe made the strings a little bit too short. There isn't enough on the actual spool for the machine head. So if I want to down tune it, I may not be able to. So, and it's just the E string. Although there are not many songs where I have to do that. But if I... Actually, let's try running a chorus pedal through this. I'd say... It requires a lot more strength than before, definitely. But I think I did a pretty good job here. It's really out of tune though. That's just the strings getting used to it. Let's see how this goes. I'm gonna have to retune this. And it'll probably be like this for another day until the strings start to settle a bit. Because I just cut the ends off the strings as well. Try running a tremolo arm through this. Okay, let's run the tremolo arm through this just to see what's up with it. I think I'm more than happy with how this turned out. I don't know. I can't. I'm not used to using these. You'll notice I don't actually have it in the guitar most of the time. So. I have forgotten standard tuning. Okay, there we go. I think it sounds really good. I'm happy with that, actually. You know, after 2 hours, only about 2 hours of work, I'd say that this turned out quite nicely. Look at it. I always wanted a maple neck guitar, and now I have one. I may need to file down the edges of the frets a little bit because they're a little bit sharp, but aside from that, it's good. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna need to file down these quite a lot. They're not awful. They could be a lot worse. So, but everything is... Wow, I was about to say. So I got some very interesting tone out of the neck pickup. This is an absolutely stupid way of getting that tone out of the guitar, but essentially the way that I did it was I need to still consider re-insulating the inside. I think it sounds a little bit weird though. But it's all the wiring underneath these two pots. These two pots are really cheap pots, so that might be why. But the way that I managed to get some really interesting tone out of it is the neck pickup is not a neck pickup. The neck pickup that I have here is a Fender Tex-Mex bridge pickup, put in the neck position. What that means is that I would not advise people to do this because two of the pickups don't align with the strings at all because of how the bridge pickup on the Stratocaster is usually bent, is usually tilted to the side. So the magnets actually have a different distance between them. What that means is that this ends up with a much brighter tone because everything above these two bottom strings lines up. And so it comes out a lot quieter, but you can pull it so it's a little bit closer to the strings. And you end up with this really weird, it's obviously in the neck position, but it has this really bright tone from these upper three strings. So, I don't know. Food for thought. Some people can consider it if they want to run it like that. I like it. Some people definitely would not. Some people probably think it's blasphemy because you could just get a neck pickup and put it in a neck position and it'll sound normal. So, I don't know. But I think it's quite nice. I like this. Now I just need to figure out a custom decal to put on the headstock because it's blank. But it looks good. I think this guitar is looking good. It is complete. I now have my maple neck guitar, although I still want an official Fender made maple neck guitar. But it looks good. I'm happy with that. And on that note, I think I am going to end the stream there because I'm gonna wash my hands, probably consider eating some lunch, and then I will be back with what will likely be Apex Legends. I think I'm gonna play Apex Legends today, and then a little bit of World of Warships. Who knows? Apex Legends is a game that I enjoy playing with other people, but we'll see how it goes playing by myself. So I don't know. We'll have to see. Who knows? I could play anything really, but I just need to decide. I can probably keep the stream live for a little bit longer while I clean up my workspace a bit. I would say it's now complete. There isn't much more I need to do to the guitar. There are some improvements here and there, but aside from that, it should be okay. I need to charge the other drill battery that ran out. This is running off 9 volt. This is a 9 volt charger. No, it's 12 volt. Can't use a 9 volt charger. Putting away my drill just a bit. Consolidate all of this so that I can deal with it later. All right. I no longer need these wire cutters. I no longer need these pliers. I'm gonna hold on to the screwdriver. I feel like I'm gonna need that at some point. But rest of it, I don't need here anymore. This screwdriver is actually mine. I'm gonna keep this here. Close that up real quick. It's just a precision electronic screwdriver. It's really useful for the small screws here and there. But I found that in the past they can be a little bit temperamental. If you use a screw head that's a little bit too small. Alright. And with that, I think it is about time that I ended the stream. I will see you all in probably only about 30 minutes, to be honest. Like, I'm just cleaning things up here on this end. Alright, later.